It is Money Saving Monday, and it is National Retirement Security Week, the perfect time to talk about something that can feel overwhelming for a lot of people. We're talking about saving for retirement. So joining us this morning is Josh, the Managing Director of Wealth Management at Desert Financial Credit Union. Thanks for joining us. It is overwhelming.
It is, yes.
So if you're sitting there and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to start saving, what is the first step that you do?
Well, the first step is really just to start with a plan. I think most people, when they're in a situation that they're actually trying to think about something that's so far away, it's really hard to actually just get going. But like with anything that we say, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail.
So how much should you even start investing? You know, like it seems so far off that it's like, you know, I could just do just a little bit.
So when you think about the value of money and compounding, time is actually your friend, and that's what you should really lean into. And so even a small amount early on can make a really big difference long term. So you think about, there's something called the rule of 72. So you look at what your average return is on the money that you're investing and how often it's actually going to double. So if you look at the S&P 500, for example. So it's generally about 8 to 10% is the annual return that you're going to get on the S&P 500. Obviously, that's a little bit of a roller coaster, sometimes more, sometimes less. So that means you're going to double your money about every 8 years. And so if you start early, the power of that money long term is really going to make a big difference. And when you think about what you should save, you have to look at your personal situation. Starts with that budget. A lot of people like the 50, 30, 20 rule, that 20% is what you're talking about saving. If you can do more, obviously take from that 30, which is your discretionary spending. But the reality is, in each person's individual situation, you really want to sit down with someone that understands your full plan that you're putting together, and then decide this is what we're going to actually save, and start early. Always start early.
It was interesting. Just last night I was talking to one of my best friends. We're like, do we have enough? Did we save enough? Are we going to have enough when we're done? What is even a goal? I mean, I'm sure that varies by person to person, but on average, what should a person have to be able to retire and just be like, all right, we're good?
So typically people say around 75% of your earnings in your lifetime is what you actually want to have. And so when you think about how much I actually need to survive, you got to look at your overall situation. But a lot of people don't take into account, they just have a number. Let's say it's $1 million or whatever it is that they put out there, and they're trying to get to that number. But really, you want to work with someone that can help break down what's the taxes going to look like? What is your health care cost? You know, they say that long-term care, typically, you know, in the past, people weren't really too worried about it, but now it's over 75% of people will be in some type of care at some point in their life. And that's great, because that means we're living a lot longer, but those are things that you really want to sit down and talk to someone about. And then there's the estate side. And so what legacy do you want to leave? What about your kids? What about charities? Other things like that.
And that care is so expensive as well. So what if somebody's watching this and like, you know what, I got a lot of debt though. I've got some credit card debt. Should I be investing and paying off credit card debt? Don't invest, just what should I be focusing on?
So I always say the first thing you want to do when you're putting together a budget is look at your high interest debt first. So if you're paying 25% on a credit card, you have to attack that and get rid of that debt. The other thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have an emergency savings. Too many people are in a situation where they're just living paycheck to paycheck. They have no emergency savings. That's the reality of what we're actually dealing with. And since COVID, I'd say there's been a lot more people that are feeling the pressure of the expenses. And so you want to make sure you handle those two buckets first. But the other thing I would say is that doesn't mean you don't want to invest, because maybe there's something like a 401k or 403b. And if you're getting a match from your company, that's essentially, let's say they're matching the first 4% you put in, then that's 100% return on your money right away. So don't give up on that type of actually investing in your retirement while you're actually paying down the other debt.
And take that match, that full match, right?
Take it. That is free money. When your company is offering something like that to you, say thank you, and I'll take it, and make sure you don't miss out on it. Because you look at it, you say, well, what else can you actually invest in that you can get 100% return on right away, and you know it's actually going to grow over time also.
All right, there you go. Breaking it down for us. So good, Josh. Good to see you.
Thanks so much.
All right, thanks for the info.